Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Tea with Tanya. Thank you for joining me here in the tea tasting room. If this is your first time listening to an episode, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a returning listener, thank you so much for your continued support. It really does mean a lot to me every time you tune in to an episode. Now, today's tea of the week, I decided to switch it up a bit, where I am trying new teas from different places, and a friend of mine recommended me a site for me to get some tea, and so far I am loving it. And the name of this tea in particular, because I'm trying to keep it fun for the summer so that we can switch things up when it comes times for the fall. But nevertheless, the name of this tea and the tea of this week is called Dream Tea. And I think that's fitting for the title of today's episode and what I'm going to be talking about. But the name of the tea is Dream Tea, and that tea came from Mountain Rose Herbs. And I will share and put that link to where you can get that tea in the show notes. But Dream Tea is an organic tea. It's an infusion blend. Is based on an ancient formula. It is especially blended for the dreamer, like myself, probably like you if you're also a dreamer, because it is believed to stimulate vivid and easily recalled dreams. And let me tell you, I've been having some dreams lately that some days I wake up, I can remember them vividly. Some days I can't. So I'm going to see if after trying this tea, if this helps. But yes, it is a light, minty flavor and is enjoyable for a rich or large dinner or in the morning, or is perfect also for a nightcap after a long day. And this tea, essentially, it is caffeine free. And the aroma and flavor, it has a floral and minty flavor. And it is great when you drink it as an iced tea. We all know it's very, very hot this summer. Like the weather, the sun is just feeling like it's getting closer and closer. So being able to drink this tea cold or chilled is also a plus. Because I'm trying to be more mindful, because I'm a tea girl, but I am a hot tea kind of girl. But I'm trying to tap into drinking more chilled or iced tea for the summer to keep me cool and refreshed. So definitely also for my pregnant or expectant mom, this tea is not for use if you're pregnancy, except if you are under supervision of a healthcare practitioner. So definitely give that tea a try. It's called Dream Tea and it's from Mountain Rose Herbs, and I will give you the information as to where you can get that from in the show notes. And our affirmation of the week. The affirmation of the week is, I free myself from fears and limiting beliefs that keeps me from accomplishing my goals. And I will say that again. The affirmation of the week is, I free myself from fears and limiting beliefs that keeps me from accomplishing my goals. Now, on today's episode, I want to explore a topic that oftentimes gets overlooked while we're in our pursuit for success. And that is making goals for yourself and not for others. And if you've been listening thus far this series, the theme is all about goal setting, being consistent, and focusing more on you and what you want to achieve versus other people. So it's only right that I talk about this episode, because I think even as I'm recording it, I'm thinking about the ways that I can relate and the things that I've done in my past, and sometimes even in this present life where I am not putting myself first. So I definitely want to talk about why it's important for making goals for yourself and not for others. Because realistically speaking, it is very, very easy to get caught up in the expectations and pressures of society, friends, and especially family. But as I'm getting older, as I'm getting wiser, as I'm getting more mature, I do strongly believe that true fulfillment comes when you focus on where you are in life and set goals that align with your own values and your own aspirations. Because think about it, in a world where we are constantly bombarded with societal expectations and the opinions of others, it's very, very crucial, it's very, very key to take control of our own lives and set goals that really resonate and align with our authentic selves. Because I'll tell you a story. If you've been listening to this series and you've listened to previous episodes, if you haven't, I was someone who, from day one, I wanted to become a nurse. Becoming a doctor was not necessarily a priority for me. But when you grow up in the Caribbean household, when you grow up in the Black household, sometimes there are some professions that you are just automatically told that you have to be. You have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, even a teacher. Thinking about becoming a nurse was not necessarily at the top of the list, or as a public health professional, thinking about becoming a public health professional was not at the top of the list for me or for many households. But it wasn't until I fell out of the program and had to pivot and decide what I was going to do and what was going to be for me. And realizing that where I was in my current state of my life, it only made sense for me to follow through and walk confidently as a public health professional. Because I remember when I made that switch and I had to break it to my parents and some friends and family, some essentially didn't understand what it meant to be a public health professional or what public health was. I myself even kept applying to nursing schools even up until last year and kept being put on the waiting list. And I told myself I had to do a self-evaluation because that's very key too. So when you're thinking about the goals and setting goals for yourself, it's always important for you to go back and self-reflect on the things you've done, where you are, and what you're passionate about. And after I realized that I can make an impact in this world without having to be in a clinical setting or having to be working bedside taking care of patients, but I realized that I could be of importance or make an impact in other people's lives as a public health professional. Because one thing about me, I write a lot. And I wrote down my goals, what I wanted to be, what looking like a public health professional would mean and look like for me. So first, I want to tell you that it's living a life to please others or conform to societal norms can really result in a lack of genuine fulfillment. Because I remember when I fell out of nursing school and I decided to go to respiratory therapy school, I had to quickly stop myself and withdraw myself from the program because it wasn't in my heart. I was just doing it because I felt I had to do something in a clinical nature. So when you think about conforming to societal norms or even to the pressures of your friends and family, you end up achieving external success and recognition, yes. But deep down, ask yourself, am I going to be feeling filled and satisfied with goals that are not even aligned with my true self? So that can lead to a disconnection, to a sense of emptiness, and a constant search for meaning and in your accomplishments. So of course we talk about working harder, grinding, as we say, or pursuing our goals. But if we are pursuing our goals that are driven by external expectations, that can be draining and it can be demotivating. Because let me tell you, when I was going through that phase of working on goals that weren't aligned with who I was as a person or where I was in my life, the disconnection that I felt, the energy was just not right because I was doing something that my heart was not truly in. And when your heart is not fully invested in what you're doing or what you're striving for, you tend to lose focus along the way. And as a result, you end up struggling to stay committed and may even give up on your goals altogether. And then you try to pursue another goal, and that may not be, again, the goal that you want to pursue for yourself, but more so for outside factors. Because moreover, the pursuit of others' goals for you can lead to a loss of self-identity. And I think I also would have went through that at some point in my life where I didn't know who I was. I kept searching for new meaning, searching for who I am. And I found myself, if I can be transparent, I found myself living someone else's lives. I was sacrificing my own dreams and aspirations in the process. Like I was legitimately sacrificing my dreams and aspirations in the process. And sometimes this can lead to feelings of resentment, regret, and a sense of losing touch with who you truly are. And I think for me, I wouldn't say I have resentment, but I do have a lot of regret in the way in which I got to my career path. But one of my mantras in life as well is nothing happens before it's time. So that's what I truly live by. But during that time, it did make me angry because I had to ask myself, why am I doing this? Why am I pursuing a goal that's not 100% in my heart? Because I was thinking about my parents. I was looking at my friends or my peers around me who I would have graduated high school with, who we all essentially should have started college at the same time. And everyone was at different stages in their lives. And I thought that I had to be where these people were. I thought I had to pursue a degree or the type of degree or the same type of degree that some of my peers were doing. And evidently it led to me not being happy. It led to me losing who I was as a person, and it led to me not genuinely living out my goals and my dreams. So you definitely want to think about why you're pursuing a goal. Is it because of you genuinely, or is it because of family or friends or peer pressure? Because to be quite honest, we cannot live somebody else's lives. And even if we're trying to live somebody else's life, we're not going to execute or live that life the way the person is living it, because again, it is not our goals or dream. So I want to talk about understanding why setting goals for ourselves, for yourself, is so vital. Because when we set goals based on other people's desires or expectation, we risk losing sight of our true passions and values. So let me know if you can relate to that. When you're setting your goals based on other people's desires or expectation, we risk losing sight of our true passions and values. It's basically like navigating life through someone else's compass. How can we ever reach our destination if we're following someone else's path? And that hit very, very close to me, because I remember trying to live a life like some of my friends, and it was just not making me happy, because again, it was not my goal. I just thought that I had to be at a certain level or point in my life where they were when I was not there yet, for many different reasons. So I'm going to share some steps as to how we can really ensure that we're setting goals for ourselves. And the first thing I want to talk about is reflecting on your passions and dreams. Take a moment to sit with yourself and ask, what do I truly want to achieve in life? Think about that. What do I truly want to achieve in life? Why is there a truck passing while I'm recording this afternoon? Like, be for real. Why is that a thing? So step one, I want you to reflect on your passions and dreams. So take a moment to sit with yourself and ask, what do I truly want to achieve in life? And I want you to dig deep into your heart and identify the goals that genuinely excite you and inspire you. Because realistically speaking, your goal should be an expression of your true self and not a reflection of what others think of you or what others think you should pursue. Recognize your uniqueness. Each one of us is on our own unique journey, and that's something that I had to learn, again, failing out of a nursing programs. We are all unique. We're all on our own unique journey. We all have different strengths. We all have different passions and dreams. So it's very important to embrace your individuality and understand that what works for you may not work for others, or what works for others may not even work for you. So take time to reflect on your own values, interests, and your long-term vision. Because it's very easy to get caught up in the moment now with others, because you see others are pursuing a particular goal, they are successful, and you want to be that person. I think I would have mentioned on the people pleasing episode with Stephanie, where I spoke about wanting to be on the same level of some of the people around me, or looking at social media and seeing where people are and what they've accomplished. And then I try, instead of being inspired by somebody, I was working towards being exactly like what that person was or what they were doing. So there's a very fine line between being inspired and wanting to be and live a life like other people. So take some time to reflect on your own values, interests, and long-term vision. Step two, define your own version of success. Because to be honest, society often paints a narrow picture of success, a very narrow picture, might I add. But it's very essential for you to create your own definition. Sometimes we think that we have to use the definition from the dictionary. We have to use the definition that from what we see on social media, from what maybe our parents or those close to us would tell us. But no, success should be about your personal growth, your happiness, and making a positive impact in the world. And that is very big for me, making a positive impact in the world. So think about it. What does success mean to you? Think about that question. Is it finding a fulfilling career? Is it cultivating meaningful relationships and being able to maintain them? or is it pursuing a passion project? Because remember, at the end of the day, it's your life and you get to define what success looks like for you. Success doesn't have to always be about becoming a millionaire or being rich when it comes to money. But of course, that's a goal too, because we are striving for financial stability. Let me just put that out there. But there's so many other ways in which success can look like for you. So as you listen to this episode, I want you to ask yourself this question and write it out. Get a book, get a piece of paper and ask yourself, what does success mean to me? Ask that question. And another thing that can be very detrimental to us pursuing the goals that we set for ourselves is peer pressure. Let me tell you, that is a big one for me. Having to overcome peer pressure. Because when you decide to set goals for yourself, it's very common to face resistance from those around you because, again, they may not understand what is it that you're trying to do or the why behind what you're trying to do. We've got to think about our friends, family, and even our colleagues may have different expectations for your life. But remember, it is very essential to stay true to who you are and your aspirations. Because I remember for me, I am back in grad school now and I am taking more classes this upcoming fall semester than I did in the spring. And I remember having a colleague asking me, are you sure you want to do this? You have a full-time job. You're someone who suffer from migraines and all these different things. And do you sure you want to take all these classes? And I was like, don't worry about me. I know what I'm capable of doing. I know what I can do. It's fine. And this person has said this to me on more than one occasion. And I guess I can say I appreciate the concern, but at the end of the day, we have to be mindful of what we are hearing from people. We have to be able to decipher when someone is genuinely concerned or they're trying to stop you from reaching and accomplishing your goals in the time frame that you want to achieve your goal in. So I want to talk about some strategies to help you navigate peer pressure, because that is a big thing when it comes to setting goals for yourself and staying true to them. You want to make sure that you're communicating. Have an honest and open conversation with your loved ones about your goals, explaining why they matter to you. Because when people understand your perspective, they are more likely to support you. I remember being afraid to tell my parents, specifically my mom, that I was not going to pursue nursing. Right now, I was going to take a U-turn or whatever you want to call it into public health. And now public health is my life. And my parents and those around me, they're able to see and even hear my passion when it comes to the field that I'm in. So when it comes to peer pressure and probably feeling scared to live in your truth, just have an open and honest conversations with the people who you deem to be special in your life. Tell them about your goals, explain why they matter to you. And some may understand, some may not, but at the end of the day, you're staying true to yourself and you would have already explained to them why you're on this path. And no matter what they say, they're not going to get you off this track, okay? You also want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals. I cannot preach that enough. You want to support yourself with like-minded individuals because nothing is more draining than being close to someone who, one, may not share a similar vision, or two, that you guys are not like-minded. So every time you want to do something, it's always something negative that they have to say. They may not understand, and then that ends up putting pressure on yourself when it comes to being your true self. So take it from me. Surround yourself, because I've been around people who were not on the same level when it comes to our mindset. And every time I would share a goal or a dream or something that's big, they would always try to shut it down or find some sort of way to make you think that your dreams are too crazy. So surround yourself with like-minded individuals. Seek out communities or networks of people who share similar values and goals. Because to be honest, in a world of social media, like I often say, we can use social media for both good and bad. And you can find Facebook groups, Instagram, LinkedIn is where it's at, in my opinion. So seek out communities or networks of people who share similar values and goals. Because having a support system of individuals who understand and encourage your aspirations can make all the difference in the world. Believe me, it makes all the difference in your life. And then the next thing that I want to share is SMART goals. If you've been listening to this series, I've mentioned SMART goals on more than one occasion. So now that you're focused on your own path, it's time to set goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So this framework ensures that your goals are well defined and that they're actionable so that you can actually execute the goals that you want in a particular time frame. So break down your dreams. Break down your very big dreams into smaller, manageable steps and be sure to celebrate the progress along the way. Another thing I want to share is for you to embrace flexibility and adaptability. And it's crazy that I'm saying that because while I think that I've always been flexible, I have not always been able to always adapt. Sometimes it takes me longer to adapt. Now I think I'm a pro when it comes to, adapting to the many changes of life or in life. Life is full of many unexpected twists and turns, and your goals may need to evolve with time. I'm going to say that again. Your goals may need to evolve with time. So don't be afraid to reassess and adjust your goals as you gain new experiences and insights. Because remember, it's not about sticking to a plan rigidly, but rather staying true to your values and passions. And I'll say that again. Remember, life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and your goals may need to evolve with time. But the key is do not be afraid to reassess and adjust your goals as you gain new experience and insights. Because you don't have to stick to a plan rigidly, it's more about staying true to your values and your passions at the end of the day. So you definitely want to set yourself up for success. Because setting goals for yourself not for others is a very powerful way to lead a fulfilling and purposeful life. And I want you to take this from me because I'm someone who I have been told from my therapist, I'm a people pleaser. I have been told from people close to me that sometimes people who are in my circle are not necessarily good for me. And this is not saying that these people are not bad. Because one thing I will say, and I'll probably talk about that in an upcoming episode with a guest I have coming up, but you have to learn to categorize the people in your life. You have to learn to categorize these people. We can have a friend for friends or peers for if you want to go out and party and have a nice drink. That's where they come in. You want to be able to have friends where you can talk about goals. You can talk about the most weirdest things. Because I had a conversation recently with two of my friends, and it turns out that we have more in common than we realize. And some of the things that we mentioned and spoke about, we ended up laughing. Granted, it's not necessarily a laughing matter, but you also have to find the joy in certain things and normalize having certain conversation. So you definitely want to categorize the people in your life to ensure that they're not stopping you from achieving your goals. Remember to embrace your uniqueness. Define your own version of success, not somebody else's version. Learn to navigate peer pressure. I would have said and helped send some strategies on how you can navigate peer pressure. And of course, I'm going to reiterate, we want to set smart goals, and you also want to be able to remain flexible along the way. Because one thing about us, we'll set a goal, we'll put our mind to it, and we expect for it to happen in the order that we wrote down or we put our minds to. But you have to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to adapt along the way, because as you grow, as you get mature, as you get older, as you have different experiences, your goals are going to change or they're going to evolve in a way that you didn't expect to happen. So before I wrap up today's episode, I just want to encourage you to stay true to who you are. I know this isn't a long episode, but I want to encourage you to stay true to who you are when you're setting your goals, because honestly, I've been talking about setting goals and being consistent throughout this series, but it is very, very key that you live your authentic life. Do not think about what somebody else is going to think or say. Because take it from me, I've been that person where I may have an opinion, I may have a thought, and then I go to somebody else and ask them a question or try to share my plans and my goals or my dreams, and I would instantly take their opinion as gold or as gospel and put my opinion on the back burner. My friend, I don't want you to be that person, because it took me a long time to get over this aspect of my life where I was people pleasing, where I thought that my ideas weren't good enough, and that every time I would share an opinion with someone that their idea would be better than mine. And that comes down to how much confidence you have in yourself and your passions, and thinking that other people are, and I hate to say like other people are better than you. That's not what the case is. It's just that we're thinking that we value someone else's opinions on our life more than ourselves. So I definitely want you to understand, think about what success means to you. What will bring happiness to you, to your life? Is it living my dream for me, or is it about what others may think? So when you think about handling discouragement when your goals don't align with societal norms or with the people in your life, you want to think about remembering that setbacks and challenges are a natural part of the journey. So you want to surround yourself with a supportive community, practice self-compassion, and remind yourself of why your goals matter to you. Stay focused and keep pushing forward, even when the path feels uncertain. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Tea with Tanya. I hope you found these insights valuable and inspiring. And remember, because I've been saying this to myself recently. For some reason, I went to a paint and sip the other day with a friend, and all of a sudden I'm an artist. But I do want you to remember that your life is a canvas. You are the one that holds the paintbrush. So go out there, set goals for yourself, and make your dreams a reality for you and not for the expectations of others. Thank you for joining me here in the tea tasting room, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.